Part 19. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 181. Su Xiao was a little bit unconvinced when she saw this Weibo. She first read the content carefully. It was confirmed that the surname was Ying, and she was a woman. But her age and other things were not revealed. It must not be Ying Wan, right? But is it just a coincidence? Su Xiao only knew that Ying Wan was a professor, and thought that this was the limit of what she could imagine. If Ying Wan was also a female scientist, how amazing would she be? Edgar was founded by a famous mathematician in the 19th century. Every year, the contestants are world-renowned mathematicians. Any one of them will undoubtedly crush ordinary people in terms of IQ, and some have made great achievements. This female scientist surnamed Ying Wan twice, which is enough to prove that she is not an ordinary person at all. But Ying Wan is in the countryside now, not abroad. Edgar won the award abroad. While Su Xiao was still thinking, Lin Mei next to her asked her, "What are you looking at again?" Su Xiao said, "Have you seen the hot searches on Weibo?" Lin Mei was a little surprised. "We are on the hot searches again? Didn't they say that a scientist who won an award cannot be on the hot searches?" Su Xiao, "Yes, but do you know who that scientist is?" Su Xiao showed her the hot searches on Weibo. Lin Mei glanced at them and began to stare at the surname Ying and became fascinated. For a long while, her expression gradually became a little horrified, and even her voice was a little dry. "No. Impossible. Isn't Ying Wan in the countryside? And she teaches in Haddon. Do you think it's such a coincidence?" Su Xiao's tone was a little vicissitudes. It just happens to be surnamed Ying, and it just happens to be a woman. Scientists are not usually very old, especially those who win this kind of award. Are you kidding me? Do you know what Edgar represents? Lin Mei was also a top student at the time. She naturally knew what the Edgar Mathematics Award was, and she knew its significance better than Su Xiao. "Su Xiao, you can ask your sister whether it is true or not, won't you know?" Lin Mei hesitated. "Ask her about this kind of thing." Lin Mei was silent for a while, but decided to call Ying Wan. At this time, Ying Wan was preparing to make lunch. Si Lu came to her house to eat for free in the name of celebration, and she had no reason to refuse. When she received Lin Mei's call, she was kneading dough in her hand to prepare steamed cakes. "Hello." Lin Mei swallowed. Wan, you are in Huayang village now, right?" Ying Wan, "Yes, what's wrong?" Lin Mei breathed a sigh of relief. "Nothing, I saw a hot search on Weibo today. Coincidentally, the female scientist who won the award has the same surname as you." "That's me." Ying Wan frowned slightly. "Why did Edgar announce it so quickly this year?" "They called me." This kind of award is announced in advance to notify the winners, and then prepare for the award ceremony. Lin Mei. She almost choked in her throat and coughed violently. Su Xiao hurriedly came forward to pat her back and asked her what was going on, only to hear Lin Mei's vague voice, "Is it really you?" Ying Wan, if Edgar dialed the right number, then it was indeed me. Lin Mei. She suddenly felt that this world was so unreal. So much so that she felt like she was dreaming. She answered the phone, but her butt went limp and sat on the stool. Su Xiao knew from her reaction. She guessed right. Su Xiao now wanted to know why such a god appeared in the Lin family. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 182. After hanging up the phone, Lin Mei was still a little dazed. She's only 24, she's only 24. Normal people would still be struggling in school at her age, but Ying Wan had already retired from the level of Professor Haddon at a young age, and she had even won the most famous mathematics award twice. When Lin Mei was studying, she also heard her professor say that it was a great honor to publish an academic paper in the subject magazine under Edgar, and it was an opportunity to become famous in the entire mathematics community, not to mention this purely professional mathematics award. The winner is definitely a big shot, and in any country, he is a super genius who is scrambled for. No matter how old, they are all top-level figures. Now, her sister has won the Edgar Mathematics Award. This award is almost legendary in the hearts of their students. Su Xiao lowered her head and flipped through Weibo. She tried to find more information. She had been searching for news and information on major forums and web pages, and then she turned to an old news from the past few years, and then took a breath. Lin Mei was still in a daze. When she heard no movement around her for a long time, she immediately came to her senses. Sister Xiao, do you think there is smoke coming out of our ancestral grave? This issue has been discussed before, so let's not discuss it anymore. Su Xiao looked at Lin Mei seriously. I just found a popular science microblog. Although it is a bit unbelievable, I think the reliability rate is close to 90%. Guess what it is? Lin Mei had expected it now. Her eyelids twitched. Is it related to Yinghuan? Su Xiao turned the tablet over and an old message appeared on it. Chinese scientists won the Milton Prize in Physics. The Milton Prize in Physics can be said to be the world's most valuable top award. Any project that won this award represents that he is a representative of a world discipline. It is a heavyweight award that almost everyone who doesn't know the scientific community knows. It is held every 3 years. There are also several scientists in China who have won it, but the latest one has not announced who won it. When the news came out, it caused a big sensation. The key is that the scientist's surname was written under the news that Su Xiao found. Surname Ying. It was not said whether it was a man or a woman. This was old news from several years ago. For a channel like Weibo that mostly carries entertainment information, it is already past information. So it did not attract much attention. Everyone just felt proud of it. Scientists are too far away and have nothing to do with them, so they did not pay attention. Su Xiao just asked Lin Mei, guess who the scientist named Ying is? Lin Mei. Her fingers were shaking and her heart was beating very fast. Is this world crazy, or are we too stupid? What else can I say? It must be that we are too stupid. Su Xiao rarely cursed. If I knew your sister was such a big shot, I would not dare to be presumptuous in front of her. I actually thought she was as cruel as the Lin family and didn't pay attention to you. Now think about it. If I have such a high IQ, I don't want a group of family members whose IQ is dragging me down. Lin Mei. Su Xiao, I think she may have been thinking about how stupid we are all the time when she was getting along with you. Lin Mei. Su Xiao also felt a little dreamy. 24. 24, You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 183. No matter what Lin Mei and Su Xiao think of Yinghuan now. Yinghuan started to prepare lunch. Getting Edgar was not a big shock to her. Of course, many people still called to congratulate her. They were basically colleagues and other great people she had worked with. These super geniuses who would make the whole country tremble if their names were mentioned outside, all congratulated her in the same way. Congratulations, congratulations, remember to treat us. Yinghuan spent the whole morning answering the phone and cooking, while Si Lu was playing with the little black dog outside. The little black dog didn't seem to like Si Lu very much, but Si Lu didn't care. He forcibly caught Xiao He and made him learn Gong 11 Fa Cai. Xiao He's barking always sounded a little resentful. I don't know if he thought Si Lu was too annoying. Until Yinghuan's faint voice rang in the house, Si Lu, help me wash the vegetables. Si Lu stood up immediately. Xiao He saw that he had escaped from his clutches and ran away immediately. barking at Si Lu from a distance. Si Lu came into the kitchen and saw a bunch of green vegetables placed by the sink. He walked over and washed them unskillfully, while asking with interest, "Have you finished answering the phone?" The phone calls to congratulate her did not stop all morning. His tone was also casual. "Edgar, didn't you win once? Why are those people so excited?" Yingwan didn't say anything. She just looked at the time on her wrist and estimated how long it would take for the hairy crabs to be steamed. All the crabs were bought by Si Lu. Since he asked the chef to come here, all the ingredients were airlifted from outside. Yingwan also had to cook on weekdays. When he was free, he would ask someone to send some over. After a long while, Yingwan said, "They are happy." She was also a little happy when she won the award for the first time, but it was more expected. Later, she won too many awards and patents, and also won heavyweight awards. The most important thing was to pursue scientific research results, and she didn't care so much about winning awards. Si Lu, are you unhappy? Yingwan, happy. Si Lu looked at her calm face, but he didn't see how happy she was. Of course, she has always been like this. Taking Edgar again is nothing more than adding another record to her life resume. People like her are destined to go down in history. He sneered softly, washed the vegetables, put them aside, looked at Yingwan busy, raised his chin slightly and asked, "What are you going to do after this year's rest?" Yingwan, continue to do what you want to do. Continue to do scientific research. Life must always be meaningful. She retired because the task assigned by the country had been completed, and the rest was purely what she liked. Si Lu felt sour when he heard it. In her life, perhaps repeating those experiments in the laboratory is her pursuit. He tilted his head, his tone seemed to be a little playful. "You have done everything you need to do now, the patent fees are so high, Wanteng's development is unparalleled, you have money and status, what else do you want to pursue? Do people just want to have enough food?" Yingwan said in a light tone, "Just like when I cook, everyone should pursue making it more delicious. Life can be better, and future scientific development and progress can make it more convenient for mankind. If I can do it, why not do it? Wanteng's development has benefited the people of the whole country, and chips have reversed the status of China's high-tech industry in the world." Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 184. The development of Wanteng is also the change that Yingwan has brought to this country. Si Lu laughed softly. "So he is a vulgar person. How can a vulgar person understand the ideas of a genius? But this kind of Yingwan is Yingwan." While the hairy crabs were steamed, Yingwan fried a few side dishes. The food she made was always incredibly delicious. The aroma alone could make people salivate. Xiahe had been lying at the door looking around. He knew that he would have delicious food again today and started to cry. He just didn't dare to come over because he saw Si Lu. Later, Si Lu took the plate out and it followed him around his legs again. Si Lu glanced at it and sneered, "What a greedy dog." After Yingwan finished cooking a large table of dishes, Si Lu took a rare photo with his mobile phone. Yingwan looked at him strangely, "Why are you taking photos?" "Mainly because Si Lu never does these things." "Si Lu, I still have to post a circle of friends to celebrate." Yingwan. Si Lu's circle of friends is naturally not simple. He rarely posts pretentious texts. He may only send a congratulatory message to Si Guanyi on his birthday throughout the year. Si Lu, picture the meal made by Yingwan. Just after the message was sent, it took only a few minutes for the crazy beeping to start. Bayat, why? XX, boss Si, are you having dinner with Professor Ying? Si Guanyi, he. Not to mention the jealousy of everyone, Bayat almost jumped up and down when he saw the circle of friends. Sure enough, Shameless is shameless, and there is some truth in the saying that those who are close to the water get the moon first. This is the advantage of living close to you, and you can also shamelessly go to your house for dinner. Yingwan didn't look at the circle of friends because she didn't add Si Lu, and didn't comment on this behavior. During the meal, Si Lu opened the bottle of champagne. It was originally a product of celebration at the party, but it was placed here to create some atmosphere. He asked Yingwan, "Do you want to drink champagne?" Yingwan stared at him for 3 seconds, then lowered her eyes. Yes. She had never drunk it before, so she wanted to try something new. Because alcohol would paralyze the brain and affect her thoughts, she never touched it. But now she is not working, so she can try something she has never touched before. Si Lu's mouth curled up a smile, and when he was holding the glass to pour, he still said, "You haven't drunk it before? You may get drunk. I will pour you some." Yingwan nodded, and Si Lu only poured her a small glass. This champagne was specially brought back from abroad by him. It has a mellow taste, which is a bit different from ordinary champagne. It is mainly suitable for people who have never drunk alcohol to try it. It tastes very good. The glass may be only 1/5 of the one in front of Si Lu. It is so small, and Yingwan only took a small sip. After drinking it for a few seconds, Si Lu saw a blush on Yingwan's face. Her cheeks were delicate and fair to begin with, and this blush made her look more beautiful than a rose, and even her eyes began to shine brightly, but with a bit of daze. Si Lu's heart moved, and he couldn't help but laugh. "Don't tell me that you reacted after drinking just this little." Yingwan answered him 5 seconds later, "I didn't." She could still eat normally, and eat hairy crabs, and drank the rest. Her eyes were bright, and compared to usual, she unexpectedly revealed a hint of liveliness and agility. "It's delicious, pour some more." While speaking, she also stretched out the pink tip of her tongue and licked the wine that had not been filtered on her lips. Si Lu looked at her appearance, and felt his throat suddenly tighten, and the hand holding the cup became stiff. His voice was very low. "You can't drink anymore, you are not right, Yingwan." Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 185. What's wrong? She just looked at him with a bright look in her eyes. Very serious. Si Lu felt that this was going to cost him his life. Doesn't she know how cute she is? She usually looked cold and indifferent, but now she seemed to be alive. Looking at her blushing cheeks, Si Lu felt that his hands were itchy. He wanted to touch Yingwan's face, or even rub it hard. Pity. It will hurt if you rub her, so forget it. Really want to drink? He lowered his eyes and asked her, but his tone was like tricking a child into eating candy. "You will get drunk if you drink too much. You don't know what you look like when you are drunk. What if you go crazy with alcohol?" "What did you say?" Her eyes were always bright. "I won't get drunk." She is already drunk. Si Lu laughed. His drinking capacity was really not that bad. Also, in the past, those people looked at her very well and would never let her drink something like wine, but now she wants to drink it, and he will comply with her. You have to drink it yourself. If something happens to make you embarrassed, don't blame me. Si Lu took the cup and poured it for her. As he poured it, he said, "Eat more crabs. You steamed them yourself. Today is mainly to celebrate your winning the award." "I know." She stared at the wine glass. When Si Lu poured it down, she took it and drank it down her neck again. His face became redder and redder, and his eyes became brighter and brighter. The bright Si Lu even suspected that there were stars in her eyes. Looking at Yingwan's drunken state, he drank the remaining bottle of champagne. "You can't drink any more, it's gone." This somewhat lost the taste of the wine, but seeing how she was still clamoring for it, Si Lu didn't dare to give him more. "What should I do if I hurt my body after drinking too much?" Yingwan was stunned for a moment when she saw him finish the champagne in one gulp. For a long time, she stared at Si Lu suspiciously, and suddenly stood up. Si Lu was startled by her, paused, and said, "What are you doing?" There was a slanted smile on his lips. She was drunk, but he didn't do it on purpose. If anything happens, you can't blame him. But he had never seen Yingwan drunk. He didn't know what Yingwan would do when he was drunk. Now he just hoped that Yingwan would do some stupid things. For example, forcefully pounce on him. When she sobered up, he could tell that she was holding on to her while she was drunk, and he had ever refused. Yingwan looked at him and suddenly lowered her body and actually walked around the table to grab his wrist. Su-han, who was watching from outside. "Shit, does he stop it or not?" The Special Forces team member also looked a little bit bitter. "This person has evil intentions. I know that he will be up to no good if he comes here. Miss Ying has a reputation for her whole life." Another Special Operations team member also joined in. "I knew that he definitely had a crooked idea when he brought that bottle of champagne. What should I do? Do I need to call the superiors to report it? Is this intentional and bad in nature?" Su Leng said with a smile, "Let's take a look and then talk." Here, Yingwan grabbed his arm, and he could even feel the slender and tender curvature of the fingertips. She came closer to him, and there was a strong smell of champagne, but it was more of the smell of her body, which was refreshing and elegant. Very natural shower gel smell. This was when she was closest to him, and Si Lu's Adam's apple moved up and down. He was a man who could never get drunk, but now he felt a little drunk. Wait a moment." But she turned around and ran into her house. "You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 186. Si Lu looked at her back, and to be honest, he was a little disappointed. "What's this? Shouldn't you call yourself in and do what drunk people do?" He paused, looked deeply at the food in front of him, and suddenly showed a sarcastic smile. "Si Lu, you are such a beast." He scolded himself in his heart. He liked her, and there was no way he would let her do stupid things. Although he wanted to do so in his heart, he couldn't take advantage of Yingwan who was drunk. It's just a little regretful. At this moment, Yingwan came out holding a tablet. Her cheeks were red, and she was even a little unsteady when walking. She staggered and almost fell when she came over. Si Lu immediately stood up and was about to come over to help her, but Yingwan stabilized her body, walked over again, and stuffed the tablet directly into her body. I gave it to Si Lu, and Si Lu's smile disappeared as soon as he opened his mouth. "Where's your graduation thesis? Hand it in quickly." Si Lu held her tablet and was silent for a long time before saying word by word, "Yingwan, I have graduated 6 years ago. And my professional professor back then was not you, you only taught me for half a year." "What?" Yingwan's eyes were a little confused, as if he didn't hear clearly. "I asked you to hand in your paper." Si Lu. He immediately laughed. "So you are like this when you are drunk? Arrest people to hand in papers?" Yingwan poked the tablet and pushed him. "Hurry up and show me your paper. I don't have much time. Don't waste the teacher's time." At this moment, Si Lu broke the jar and fell back, leaning on the chair. "I didn't write." "Teacher, you can judge me as a failure. It doesn't matter if I can't graduate." He spoke lazily, like a scoundrel. "Yingwan, forget it if you don't pay, I'm too lazy to care about you." Si Lu. However, Yingwan's mischief did not stop. She paused and suddenly said to Si Lu, "I will give you a test question. If you solve it, the paperwork can be slowed down." Si Lu. Then he saw Yingwan snatch the tablet back, tap the tablet skillfully with her fingers a few times, and then hand it to him again. When he looked at it, he saw that it was her original math problem. She used this problem to stop students. Every student in her class would kneel down on this problem. She later said, "You don't know how to solve such a simple question. What are you doing all day long? Have you ever paid attention to my class? You are just wasting my time." The students almost cried for her on the spot. Why haven't you seen that even professional mathematics professors took more than half a year to solve it? Just give them a month, it's amazing. The answer was revealed later. Si Lu was not a math major. He chose a major that was beneficial to his family management because of family reasons. He just took the class that Yingwan was taking. This question was difficult for him, but he remembered it anyway. I still remember the answer, and I followed Yingwan's method of solving the problem. After Yingwan took it and looked at it, she suddenly felt strange and said, "Why do you think exactly the same as the teacher?" Si Lu said shamelessly, "Teacher and I have a clear understanding." "Yeah." Yingwan paused, clicked on the tablet, and suddenly said, "Teacher will give you another question." Si Lu took it over and took a look. This time, she came up with a completely innovative question. Even Si Lu could see that it would take an unknown amount of time to present this question to Haddon's mathematics professor. Si Lu, "Teacher, can I take it back and make it?" Yingwan, "Right here, the teacher is watching you, don't cheat." Si Lu. Secretly, a group of special operations team members behind Suhan laughed so hard that they almost didn't pull away. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 187. What can Si Lu do? His face was livid, and he could only look at the question in front of him. He had never thought that he could be as smart as Yingwan, but he was also above most people. However, now seeing this question, it is indeed not something that humans can do. Yingwan happened to sit next to him. Because she was drunk, she had a very obvious smell of alcohol, but the smell of champagne was not offensive, and he also had it. Her cheeks were red, her eyes were bright, and she pushed Si Lu's arm. "Why don't you start?" Si Lu wanted to bite the little woman in front of him. When he was drunk, he started to go crazy, not caring at all whether he had any intentions. He could only grit his teeth and say, "Teacher, you have to think while doing the questions. You don't have to look at me all the time. I always need some time." Oh. Yingwan was easy to talk to at this moment. She was silent for a while, and suddenly said, "Then the teacher is going to rest. When the teacher wakes up, you should be done. This question is very simple. If you can't do it, you will fail this year." Si Lu. You take it to the mathematics professors in Haddon and ask them if this question is simple or not. She said she was going to rest, and she really went into the room to sleep. Of course, Si Lu couldn't do the questions honestly, but the tablet in front of her, it was hers. She entered the password and the tablet was turned on. Si Lu's eyes darkened for a moment, and then jumped to the desktop. When he saw the experimental data and professional application apps everywhere, Si Lu sighed. When he was about to turn off the tablet, he suddenly saw Yingwan's WeChat. He clicked it in. There was no password, so it popped up directly. Si Lu's eyes flickered, and he turned off the tablet in an instant. Forget it, it's not a wise thing to pry into someone's privacy, especially Yingwan's. Even if he wanted to, some things could only be thought about. He didn't want to make her angry, even if she might not know. Putting down the tablet, Si Lu only moved some of the food on the table, and cleaned up the dishes and put them in the dishwasher in the kitchen, and then went into the living room to take a look. Yingwan's bedroom is very simple. On the left-hand side of the living room, and on the right-hand side is Lin Mei's bedroom. She didn't close the door, and Si Lu saw her lying on her side on the bed, and her shoes were neatly placed beside the bed, a little crooked. Even if she was drunk, she still maintained her self-discipline. She was cold, but the quilt she covered was a thin quilt with small floral patterns, and her whole head was buried in the quilt. Only the round back of her head could be seen. She didn't sleep with a pillow, and wrapped herself tightly, and she had a very safe sleeping posture. He took a look and couldn't help laughing. Compared with his usual laziness and carelessness, only others could see how doting and gentle his smile was now. Yingwan. He called her softly, his voice was as light as a feather tickling people, low and sexy tickling people's hearts, itchy. Yeah. She also responded softly, but you can tell that she was asleep and responded in a daze. He chuckled again, put the tablet next to her bedside table, and walked out of the living room by the door without entering the house. The special forces looked at him and were a little unbelievable, it's still a human. Suhan rolled his eyes, then what do you think he will do in front of us? If he dared to do anything, would they not stop him? Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 188. When Yingwan woke up from sleep, she had a rare headache. She usually rested well and rarely had a headache except for the headache caused by irregular sleep during experiments. When she woke up, she felt that her cheeks were still a little hot. She touched it and felt a little dizzy. She remembered. She had lunch with Si Lu at noon, and then she drank champagne. She seemed to be drunk, because she didn't remember much about what happened afterwards, but only vaguely remembered that she took something to Si Lu. What would she take? She looked around and saw that the position of the tablet had moved. She knew where she put it, and it was impossible to put it next to the bed. She picked it up and looked at it, but there was nothing wrong. She was a little worried about what she couldn't remember, so she asked Suhan and the others directly. Suhan reported honestly, you were drunk, but you didn't do anything. You just forced Si Lu to hand in the paper and do the questions, and then went to bed. It was still relatively worry-free. Yingwan, I forced Si Lu to hand in his paper. She hasn't taught for 5 years, how come she is still so obsessed? Suhan couldn't help laughing, and covered his lips with his fist. Yes. Yingwan rubbed his forehead, that's okay. I didn't expect her alcohol tolerance to be so poor, and she couldn't control what she did. It seems that she can't drink anymore. The first time she drank was because she wanted to try something new, but now she knows that drinking will delay things and will rarely make her lose some of her memory. She will never drink again. She must stay calm anytime and anywhere. She looked at her phone. She actually knew to turn off the notification sound when she went to bed, resulting in dozens of missed calls on her hand. There are also dozens of text messages, and WeChat notifications are ringing non-stop. After all, today is the big day of winning the Edgar Award. Compared with usual days, it is still more lively, and more people are asking. At this moment, a video call message popped up on her WeChat. She took a look and answered it without hesitation. After the call was connected, a kind-looking old lady appeared on the video. She was wearing a black floral dress, a sweater, gray hair, and gold-rimmed glasses. She looked very academic. At this moment, she was holding the phone and saw Yingwan, and her face was full of smiles. Oh, Wan is awake. I called Suhan, and he said you were sleeping. Wan also smiled and called, Grandma Xian, I'm awake, your call is just right. My Wan is still so beautiful. Xian Lanyi, the leading female scientist in China, was very foresighted in the difficult environment of China at that time and majored in electronic information. She laid an indelible foundation for the development of information technology in China. She can be said to be a pioneer. She taught Yingwan carefully at that time and was the person who had the greatest influence on Yingwan. She looked at him with a smile. Grandma's birthday is in 3 days, you come quickly, Grandma wants to see you well. She is now truly retired at home, enjoying the joy of family, but she misses Yingwan the most. Yingwan smiled and said, how could I forget Grandma Xian's birthday? Don't worry, I'll come tomorrow. Xian Lanyi waved in the video, okay, Grandma is waiting for you, but I also watched you and your sister on that show, otherwise, you can bring your sister as well. Yingwan raised his eyebrows slightly, do you want to see her? 4 chapters will be updated before 5 p.m. during the day. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 189. You are willing to appear on the show with her, why can't Grandma still meet her? Suinlan smiled and said, back then, so many media outlets wanted to interview you, but your family didn't accept it. Even when they said they wanted to make a documentary for you, you refused. You kid, if you want to be famous, Yang Tianxia has not become famous for a long time. I just want you to know how your sister can be so capable to please this great Buddha. Suinlan was not the only one who was curious about this matter. Everyone knows how difficult it is to move and communicate with the great Buddha Yingwan. It would be an honor to be able to meet each other. And the only person who could come into contact with her was Lin Mei. Lin Mei is a member of the Lin family, but some small things that happened to the Lin family recently were caused by Si Ludong, which is confusing again. Yingwan curled her lips and smiled faintly, since you want to see her, I'll bring it to you. Grandma, I'm sorry, I can only have one meal with you. It doesn't matter. I don't know your temper yet. If you don't want to be disturbed, you can bring her here. Grandma will have a meal with you alone, just Grandma's family. Yingwan will not attend these public events because she has an unusual status and is protected by someone. There are always some ignorant people who try their best to get close to her. This is Xian Lanyi's dinner, and many people are bound to come. Not everyone knows Yingwan's identity. She hung up the video call, lowered her head and thought for a while, then called Lin Mei. What are you doing? Lin Mei was very surprised that Yingwan actually called her. What is she doing now? She remained silent in the shock and confusion that her sister was the winner of the Edgar Prize in Mathematics and had even won world prizes such as the Milton Prize. Sitting on the sofa with Su Xiao, I have been doubting my life for several hours. At this moment, when she heard Yingwan's call, Lin Mei reacted suddenly, I'm resting at home, Wan, what's wrong? When he heard that it was Yingwan's call, Su Xiao stopped worrying about anything and leaned close to Lin Mei's ear and listened. That's it. Yingwan's tone was calm, but she still considered her words. I have a grandma who was the teacher who taught me since I was a child. Her name is Xian Lanyi. You should be able to find her information on the internet. She knows I'm on the show and it's her birthday in 3 days. She wants to meet you. Would you like to go with me? Lin Mei. Su Xiao. The name Xian Lanyi sounds familiar. I really don't blame them for not knowing. It's really that these people are too far away from ordinary people like them. Su Xiao immediately picked up her phone and started searching. Lin Mei had already responded, if she wants to see me, then I'll go. Wan, what do I need to prepare? Su Xiao found out who Xian Lanyi was, approached Lin Mei, and said with lip language, what are you preparing for? A world-class master, a pioneer in electronic information engineering, the founder of the country's leading award, and a figure on the list of national treasures. Just these few words were enough to make Lin Mei dizzy. Yingwan's voice over there was also very calm, you don't need to prepare anything. Grandma Suinlan doesn't like extravagance and waste. I have prepared your gift for you. If you are willing to go, just follow me. She is in the imperial capital. I'll fly to the imperial capital tomorrow. Becoming the richest by farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 190. Lin Mei and Su Xiao were stunned by the news. When the two hung up the phone, Ying Wan had already made clear arrangements. Lin Mei was trembling after reading the information. Am I going to meet such a person? If Ying Wan is still the kind of untouchable god around, then Xian Lanyi is at least visible to ordinary people. How powerful it is to be able to face it directly. Xian Lanyi used to be the leading pioneer in the country. The development of the information age without her was difficult. She returned from studying abroad and devoted herself to serving the motherland. In the following decades, she successfully laid the foundation for the country's current basic information facilities and created convenience for the information age for all people. Of course, this is not just her contribution, but she is one of the more famous ones. Another woman, quite great. She is already 79 years old this year, but her body is very strong. In the photos taken on the news, you can still see the old lady wearing a cheongsam, elegant and decent, showing the style of a great man. Su Xiao was about to become jealous. Why do you do that? Even if this kind of person has nothing to do with the entertainment industry, it is a great honor to meet him. Lin Mei giggled at this moment. It's really good to have a sister. Su Xiao. But she was still nervous. She was nervous from the moment Ying Wan called her, and she was thinking about what she should wear from the afternoon to the next day. Since she was meeting such a national treasure, she must be solemn but not vulgar. She is a scientist, why should she dress like she is walking on the red carpet? Finally, under the advice of her exclusive stylist, Lin Mei put her hair up and put on a custom-made black cheongsam with white clouds embroidered on it. Her bright face was like a rich lady from the Republic of China, solemn and generous. She was raised in the Lin family, and her temperament was a little different from others, so she could hold it down. This cheongsam was custom-made by a master for her, and it just arrived not long ago. It was the finale she wanted to wear on the red carpet. This kind of clothes can usually only be worn once, and then never again. Because it is just the pride of female stars. But now, when meeting Xian Lanyi, forget about the red carpet. Ying Wan and Lin Mei met at Lin Mei's home in the capital. The location of the capital is different. Lin Mei bought a high-end apartment here. The area is only more than 300 square meters, and the location is also relatively good. It cost 30 million when it was bought. When Ying Wan came, she was only wearing casual clothes. Lin Mei was a little dumbfounded when she saw her casually dressed. Am I wearing too formal? She was still a little nervous. After all, the person she was going to meet was not an ordinary person, and she was going with her sister, so she naturally had to ask Ying Wan's opinion. Ying Wan looked at her up and down and said with a smile, "No, it's just right. Very beautiful." Yesterday, Su Xiao praised her for a long time for her to match this cheongsam, and Lin Mei was nervous. Now Ying Wan's light praise made her feel sweet. Since Ying Wan said it was beautiful, it was really beautiful. Since she entered the entertainment industry, she had never been so unconfident about her appearance. Ying Wan gave herself a reassurance. Su Xiao watched from the side. She was an agent and was taking her sister with her. Naturally, she couldn't follow. When she left, she said to Lin Mei, "You fight for your reputation. Don't embarrass yourself." Lin Mei. Of course she knew.